Good morning, welcome to today's very cold video. It's the day after the storm. Weather app says 2 degrees, feels like 0 degrees. It's entirely correct. Where there's still some puddles from the storm at the weekend, we're all frozen. It's very cold. It is just the kind of day when you need some new winter gloves, and that is just what I've got. Whoop, minus ice. Yeah, that's how cold it is. So I have some new winter gloves. My hands are very snuggly. I have some Rahhint winter gloves. I'm not expecting to see many people out on their bikes today, but I'm out there taking one for the team to show you these winter gloves. Could be lazing in bed. Nah. I'll tell you how cold it is. I couldn't get the camera out in time, but a gritting lorry just came by. Sprayed me with grit. That's how cold it is. So just here we've got some new mock gates. And a load of poles stuck in the ground. The Woodland Trust have been building a new cycle track. This could be interesting, it's not finished yet. It's not finished and officially open yet, but they've put it through some woods just outside of town. Ultimately, apparently, it's going to be connected to town. Check this out. It's quite nice, isn't it? There's 2 areas of woodland just outside town, and this cycleway is going to connect them together. I like it. Well, once that's properly finished, I can see a little video about a ride around that. That'll be on the cards, won't it? Well, it's definitely one of those really nice, crisp, blue sky November mornings, but it is bloody cold. So full disclosure on these gloves, the guys at Rahhint sent me them. They distribute through Amazon, so they arrive pretty promptly. They arrive in a very nice box, and at this time of year, if you want a nice little Christmas present for yourself or somebody that cycles, they're a very nice box. You would be delightful to open that on Christmas morning. Oh, it's definitely cold down here, look. This is definitely very icy. So a little bit more about these gloves. As you can see, they've got on the pads this nice silicone pattern, so it's pretty good for gripping stuff. And I almost dropped my water bottle earlier, and they probably saved the day. They've also got a pretty decent Velcro strap around the wrist, so you can see you can get a really decent close fit around your wrist. You know, sometimes that's just a band and they can be a bit awkward. You've actually got some decent quality stitching. You can see there, look, they're pretty well made. These gloves, they're not expensive, but they're certainly not cheap. I think they're about £29, but certainly I've got gloves that are considerably more expensive than these, where the quality of the stitching is somewhat less. So you can see it's pretty decent, really. So you might just be able to see on there is a little logo with the R for Rahhint, and that allows you to use your touchscreen on your phone. So obviously if you're messaging or looking at routes, etc., looking at Strava, that's pretty handy. And this bit just here, you can see, that's like a fine toweling, so that's pretty nifty for wiping sweat off you. You might even want to wipe your nose on that too. So you can see here, when I actually put the gloves on, the wrist strap comes up pretty well. So as you can see with this particular jacket, I'm pretty well sealed from the elements. It all matches up nicely. Pretty good. So on a day like today, these gloves are pretty much about warmth, and they're pretty effective. They are also windproof. I wore them the other day when it wasn't actually too cold, but it was pretty windy, and we definitely kept the wind out pretty well too. One of the things I certainly noticed though is they're very thick, which is a good thing when it's cold like this, but I did find, if I'm being honest, when I was first out of the box they felt a little bit too thick, but actually as I've got used to them, and also certainly as I've ridden the bike, they've become shaped around the handlebars, and as I got used to them I don't notice the thickness so much. But the thickness is probably a good thing. So my good friend Ride with Roy, he suffers with cold hands on the ride, and he was saying just the other day that the thickness is pretty much a good thing, and it definitely helps to stop the coldness getting through. They're actually made of 6 layers apparently, and that would explain the thickness. So being winter gloves, as you'd expect, they're waterproof. I was actually watching a couple of videos on YouTube. There's some outdoorsy guys and walkers have also reviewed the same gloves as a general winter walking glove, which I think they would be equally good at. And one of the guys would run them under a tap, and they did seem to deflect the water pretty well. But it occurred to me, if they're very well stitched and waterproof, in addition to keeping water out, they might keep water in, might they? I wonder what would happen if I filled them with water. I happen to be by some water. We could test them. This is not a particularly scientific test. It's a test all the same. There's some water. I did think actually this river might be higher today than it is after the storms of the weekend, but it's flowing pretty fast. But it's not overly deep. Thought it might be deeper. So let's have a look at the waterproofing of these gloves. You can see the water's beading there on them. A little flick and it's pretty much gone off. That's not too bad, was it? That water's going to be very cold, but my hands are still warm, hasn't come through. Yep, still dry. So, what's going to happen if I fill them with water? It seems a bit wrong to do this, but in the interest of science, well, I think that is just the water. Yeah, naturally there is going to be a bit of water just from dipping it in the water in the river, but it's not pouring out, is it? Yeah, there's a little bit of water coming out, but not much. So I think, given that these are totally full of water, you'd have to be on a very wet ride to get your hands totally wet. In case you're wondering, I did think this through because I brought with me a spare winter glove. The first thing that strikes me when I took this glove out of my pocket, my old spare one, is how thin and flimsy it is in comparison. That one is very wet, but it's considerably thicker. Not flimsy like that one. I was actually going to go across those stepping stones, not on my bike, but carrying it. But I don't trust myself, because I just went over and I just stepped onto them. I'm just full of ice. Might be wise not to. I'm going to go that way instead. So what I now have is one glove of the new ones and my old winter glove. My old winter glove, as I'm riding along, has got noticeably less padding on it. So it's interesting comparing the gloves at the same time on the same handlebars on a track like this. The new ones are considerably more comfortable with less vibration off the handlebars. You can really notice the difference in thickness between the gloves. So overall, I think I'm pretty pleased with these gloves actually. They probably are worth £29. So overall, I think I'm pretty happy with those gloves. I'm definitely pleased to have them. I think a day like today is the perfect day for wearing them. When I wore them last week, it wasn't really cold enough. It was about 6-7 degrees and they were too warm, to be honest, then. Which is a good thing, because for this kind of weather, whether you're cycling or walking, they're definitely the right thing to have. So I will drop a link below to Amazon so you can see where they are. Like I said, I've not been paid for this, but I did get the gloves for free. Disclaimer. So naturally, with the weather being this cold, the cold is zapping the battery in the GoPro. So it's running out fast. I'm on yellow, it's flashing. So I shall see you again in a few days' time. Bye for now.